This man raised the bar of leadership in Nigeria. He raised the bar of leadership in Nigeria. You know, he was the man that built up Anambra State. You know, Anambra State used to be almost educationally disadvantaged.
Reno Mokri led the protest to chase President Tinubu out of London.
No, but Reno said he went to the school.
Yes.
Reno
And
actually said so.
they provided evidence.
Yes, that he did not go to that school.
No,
that
that
he
the
went to
president
that
went to
school.
the school.
Reno Mokri, I have the video on my phone. He's one of the only persons who has gone to Chicago State University and confirmed that President Tinubu did not school there and that he was a drug lord, according to Reno's own statement. That he got a docket to show that.
But that's not what
he
Reno
said. He
said.
retracted that statement. He retracted.
Tinubu had this issue. I went to the Chicago State University. I went there, I saw this. I'm so proud of Governor Obi. I listened to him today and I was touched. Like, do we have
He was touched.
this in Nigeria?
He said on this show that he never liked him. He made videos on that. Let me show you.
You get receipt.
Let me show you now so that go be like say the mistake you will make in Nigeria is to take political jobbers for genuine statement.
But does that not include Peter Obi?
Okay, in what sense? Peter Obi made a statement publicly and said, "I am not a saint, but I'm not a thief." Daddy Freeze. 98% of Nigerian politicians cannot make that statement because they are thieves. What was President Tinubu doing before he became a politician? The current pension scheme of President Tinubu includes overseas medical treatment for a non-specified number of family members. We are talking about WAEC certificate of president. We are looking for schoolmates. We just saw Mr. Alex. After how many years? Have you read the pension scheme of Lagos State governors? Including routine changing of cars, security vehicles, houses in Maitama, in the choice places in Asokoro or Maitama, in Lagos. The salary of a former governor.
Wait, Lagos State governor.
Yes.
Has a house or is supposed to have a house.
On your retirement, you are supposed to have a house.
In Abuja.
And Lagos. Go and download them and check. And Obi comes out and tells
Senator Akpabio.
that's
the
what they call
work he
him.
did in Akwa Ibom, I can argue it was way better than the work Obi did in Anambra.
It is Reno Mokri who is telling you President Tinubu is the next good thing after best thing after sliced bread.
My greatest criticism of Obi, I love him as a person.
Yeah.
I think he's brilliant and all, but I can't divorce him from the fact that he worked hand in hand with Abacha.
Daddy Freeze, let me make it very clear here.
Welcome to the Honest Bunch podcast. Thank you so much for your support. We are super grateful. Una dey watch as we dey curate. Una dey even dey give us suggestions and advice as to make the team better. We don't pledge say this season 7. Content when go impact lives. Now we dey about and now waiting the Honest Bunch they about. God, we thank you for wisdom. We bless your holy name. Ladies and gentlemen, OhentPay. OhentPay. If you want send money, no stress. You will want send money, why you go dey think am? You will want receive money, why you go dey battle with anxiety when OhentPay dey? 190 countries around the world. So no excuse, we don't have network in Ghana. Tell the person OhentPay, or else you don't want to pay. With OhentPay, there's no stress at all. Then let's talk about Resida. These are people where be say, they don't say you don't work hard, you don't gather money, you want to own a piece of the earth. With Resida, you don't get any problem. Just go meet them. Tell them, say, now from the Honest Bunch, they will give you the best deals and there will be no issues at all. Maybe say years later, you can't come on top of social media, they cry, say, they did not give me a location. They gave me only receipts. No, it will never happen with Resida. Ladies and gentlemen, to the introduction of the amazing quartet, I'm going to begin with the not so little baby girl of the house, the last born. The one who represents a generation of audacious Nigerians, the Gen Z, that express themselves and will take it by force. The beautiful, delectable, drop-dead gorgeous, one and the only Sokwe Per.
I won't take that. That's a paper.
I
should say clock it.
That's the latest one. Clock
Hi
it.
guys. Salam alaikum.
No, hi chummies.
Hi chummies. Salam alaikum.
I come in
peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, what is more beautiful than having one Nigerian woman in a space? Having 2 Nigerian women.
Let's go.
Oh. This lady is up now. That is, she doesn't come out because the sun might smite her. She's so beautiful that they should just put her in a museum. And people will just be watching as they walk past. I dare say that she can cause traffic on the Third Mainland Bridge, even on public holiday.
Hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, they go in 160-feet container on the high sea, www.asabokoto.com. We want, by the special grace of God, incoming of Abia State. Proudly Mwaba. Zini Porsche, Zini Mama.
I dare say that. I mean, I'm pretty.
Yeah.
I reiterate. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Ladies and gentlemen, God created man and rested on the seventh day. Now, man's ingenuity brought radio, but something was missing. The charm, the character, the charisma, the voice. So many people have come and gone in broadcast media, but this man, when they write about the evolution, when they write about the turnaround, when they write about the history of broadcast media in Nigeria, especially on radio, this na person will be say, in carrying voice, using voice, the voice content to something will be say, the voice now in change the level of so many brands inside Obodo Nigeria. He's like a seed. Because they be look and say, no, this person, they go plant you. He say, no, I will not die. I will multiply. The one and the only. Daddy free! Yes. And yours truly, Ezuguchuku, the husband material, in my Collins kind. Yeah, thank you. It's okay.
Clock that.
Yes.
Clock that.
Clock it, husband
Proudly
material.
Nigerian. Clock it. Proudly Nigerian. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest is a man that is so knowledgeable that he would leave you in awe. Sense choke. Wisdom plenty. I dare very sure say, if to say na the New Testament, if or follow the wise men, whether na gold, whether na frankincense, whether na man, I don't know. But I sure say go follow them. This man is so passionate about our great country, Nigeria, that he's using his voice and his platform at a time when so many people are afraid to speak up. But he say, you see this one, we die here. No, but he will not die. The way when they follow the thing with passion, it can't make some people here can't they stand. So then now when they call his name for some kind of places, evil people will flee. Ladies and gentlemen, super talented. Put your hands together for a man who has carried the gospel of electoral reforms on his shoulder and he's running with it. The one and the only Akah Peter!
Wow. Make some noise.
I got to wonder whether that me did
What are you?
Not in my life. This kind of description and you are eulogizing. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Honest
Thank you
bunch,
very
I greet you now.
We greet you too. So good to have you here.
My pleasure.
So a very good place to start now. Make we set the foundation. And remember, as I mentioned, electoral reforms.
Yes, sir.
As we did like this for Nigeria, for many people, 2027 will be like say next week.
Yes.
Because the way when then they plan for them, may God keep us alive and well.
Amen.
Now, why some people they decamp from one political party to the other, some people don't begin to strategize so that they will fulfill their ambition. The way when be say you they move, you leave the people when they decamp, you leave people when they strategize, you go for the referee, the electoral umpire. It be like say you and INEC now put one leg inside trouser. Make I ask you, elections were conducted in 2023. The people when feel some type of way go court. Court reason the matter, say okay, now like this he go, and everybody don't move on. But it be like say you never move on because you hold the trouser of the person when blow whistle for that election, and you the one up say the one way come for front he must do well. Make I just allow you. Wetin be this talk with INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakub, and 2027?
Thank you very much. I greet all of you now. Nigeria know they hold elections. Waiting Nigeria they hold na Shege Subscription Renewal Program, SSRP. This program is meant every 4 years conducted so that you go intensify the degree of sufferhead and pain upon Nigerians every 4 years. That is why you go ask yourself the question, why be say, no matter how bad one leader be, when the next person come, you go start to miss that other one. We've been thinking saying that Jonathan was passed on Nigeria. That was the thinking. And then Buhari came. Because there was even Occupy Nigeria. He must go. Buhari came, everybody say, At the end of Buhari, when they shout, say Baba, at the end, they started shouting Bama, so even for not. Because there was one day Buhari visited his hometown. The day he reached there, bandits attack and kidnap more than 200 children. Meaning the hand of incompetence is long enough to go round, whether you support or not. Then Buhari left, and then Tinubu has come now. People don't talk, say maybe Buhari been better. Imagine seeing waiting go make you miss Tinubu.
Hey, God forbid.
So what we call government in Nigeria is organized criminality. Every sector in Nigeria is in shambles. But the major problem is that Nigeria, we have wasted time talking about the problem instead of handling the solution. If we call ourselves a democracy, the hallmark of every democracy is free, fair, and credible elections. Elections are not just part of a democracy, they are the foundation of a democracy. Because in democracy, power must come from the people. So what we have been doing is telling ourselves a lie, a deceit. Because why I say that is most important is because that is the first system of accountability. Why I leave people where they decamp, the people where they go, is because they boast an arrogance of corrupt politicians is a criminal electoral process.
Please say that again.
The arrogance and confidence of a corrupt political class is in a criminal electoral process because they know they can weaponize it against the people. There is no politician who will know that there is an electoral process that has the capacity to vote me in and vote me out that will conduct themselves in the way that Nigerian politicians are doing. Why will somebody be defecting to the APC? Is it because they have done so well? And why is it that when one person defects to a party, automatically change the entire voting pattern of that state? Shana, the governor, they think for the other people. It is because they know that there is a system to weaponize. That is why I place focus on that electoral process. Because if somebody, you talk, say that they defect, that they decamp, if everybody where they destroy Nigeria, they come together under one umbrella, what are we, the 200 million victims of their recklessness and irresponsibility? When we go come together, decide to also form our own group to hold them accountable. So while you are complaining about hunger, insecurity, poverty, lack of health infrastructure, the people that put you in that situation are preparing to come back. So you will now renew for another 4 years. So it is either you meet them at that point because there is no other way. Even if you do revolution, you fight, you scatter everywhere, you must come back and pick leadership. So electoral reform and elections is a must-do.
It's good as you don't start like this because it is very, very clear. Say, if you not solve the problem, the result where you go get, not be one way go make belle sweet.
It no go work.
And you said something about 200 million Nigerians.
Yes.
Because it means, say, you know, if you get this number of people, they suffer. When it be said, if you do the right thing and solve the problem. But talking about doing the right thing, when we talk about reforms, now the National Assembly, constitutionally, go change our laws in order to resolve the problems we face.
Yes.
What do you think of the National Assembly under the leadership of Senator Godswill Akpabio?
In fact, this 10th National Assembly is still talking about missing former ones. Nigeria has been thinking say the 9th Assembly under Senator Ahmed Lawan was probably the worst. But right now, as we see, the 10th Assembly is almost the APC town hall. In the sense that the National Assembly is supposed to be, in the US Constitution where we copy, it comes first before the presidency. The idea of democracy is National Assembly. Because in the military regime, that is the only arm of government that is not available. So democracy is National Assembly. They perform oversight over executive and judiciary. Imagine a National Assembly that see themselves as subordinates to the executive, where there are no checks and balances. For 2 years, when President Tinubu go to submit budget, they greet him with what? His political mantra, on their mandate they shall fall. So when you begin to see that and then nobody is checking anything, tomorrow nobody knows how budget they pardon and whatever. But the issue is that this issue of electoral reform, there were loopholes in the 2022 electoral law. Where a lot of people no pay attention to. Nigerians say there was electoral reform. Section 60 subsection 5 said the presiding officer will transmit results in a way and manner as prescribed by INEC. The whole of elections, we are at the mercy of INEC or whoever is running it. So they will leave a loophole where judiciary go use technicality. But the question is, whether you don't believe in them or not, you must mount the necessary pressure to get the change you want. Because if you ask yourself, if you don't get it from them, when? The people will go come after them, will it be easier? So no matter how bad the institution will be, if the majority of the people unite and say enough, we demand this, it will happen.
Interesting. So from what you don't talk now, it is very, very clear. Say, we know the problem.
Yes.
We know those when go solve them.
Yes.
But if those people not put body to solve them, the problem no go they solved. Now, it now behooves on the people who would suffer the consequences to deal with this situation. Now, before I talk about the people when go fit maybe put body to solve this problem,
Yes.
you are using your voice and your platform to enlighten and inform Nigerians. Make I ask you, wetin dey responsible for this your decision to say, me now, I get voice, I get platform, and wetin I want use am do be this?
My love for humanity, my upbringing and personal experiences, and my knowledge to know that as I dey Nigeria today, I am just a potential victim. All of us seated here, we are just one court order away from being remanded in a prison. If any politician no like wetin we dey talk here, does not need to waste time. Go before a magistrate that is already having a court order pending. They put you there, adjourn the case. They say no judge. They are awaiting trial. Before you know, you spend more time than a possible prison sentence. 200 people died for Benue. I'm not better than any of them. More than 400 killed in a flood in Niger. I'm not better than anybody. We must all realize that as we are, anything, Nigeria can happen to you and meet you at any point. So if your fear is death, is what you prefer a life of cowardice because you were too afraid to speak up and demand for what you deserve. Life is not a la carte. It will not give you what you deserve. It is what you demand. Anything that you want to get, you must wake up and be courageous enough to demand for it. If I want to jackpot, no be people build America. No be people build Canada. Why can Nigerians not build Nigeria? So if we continue postponing the evil day, we are just leaving ourselves and postponing our victimhood for more and more time.
All said and done. What political ideology do you submit to?
Daddy Freeze, I thank you very much because I know that the intellectual part of this question now. Do you know I do not personally like to hinge on a particular political ideology in a certain way. What I base my entire political ideology is about the betterment of humanity. Because anything has its own pros and cons. You can decide to swing this way or that way. But I am of the opinion and in the platform that you can do better through leadership and that the welfare of people and humanity must be better because you are given certain level of power and office to occupy. So that is where my political ideology comes from, that humanity is better because of the actions and decisions that we make and take.
Okay, so just recently in Rivers State, there's a lot to talk about in Rivers State, but because we're talking about elections, let's go. So they're about to have like their local government elections.
Yes.
And the sole administrator of the state has just appointed an electoral umpire to oversee the elections, the forthcoming elections.
Yeah.
And people are saying that why must it be somebody from Cross River State, his state?
His own state.
Why did he not go for somebody from River State? Then other people say, okay, but the members of the panel, there are 8 or so.
Yes.
7 of them are from River State. It's just one person from
Cross River.
Then other people say, no, why is the one from Cross River the head of other people from River State? Is it that there is no competent person from River State that should oversee the electoral process?
Yes.
Why is he? I mean, speak to that issue because some other people would argue that is not, you mustn't choose a person from that same state.
Yes.
He can decide to choose anybody, but others are saying no. Yeah. It's being tribalistic. So I want you to speak to that issue. What do you feel?
It is very beautiful that you came up with River State. And you know that me, I'm a very leadership and solution-oriented person. We cannot talk about the symptom and leave the root cause of the problem. Why is Ibokete Iba seated in River State Government House? What is he doing there? What part of the constitution did President Tinubu use to swear in the sole administrator? And why the choice of the former chief of naval staff? The governor, the democratically elected governor of River State is on suspension by the president. And it was supposed to have been ratified by the National Assembly that should have used 2/3 majority on a serious issue, like after declaring a state of emergency. The 10th Assembly, led by Senator Akpabio, decided to use a voice vote to remove a democratically elected governor who was elected as the president. And remember what led to the situation they are today, because there was a fight between the current governor and the immediate past governor, who is supposed to be a member of PDP but is seated at the Federal Executive Council that is headed by an APC president. So it's either in PDP and APC. And why did they fall into a fight? Because according to people, they have agreement. Agreement is agreement. What is the agreement? One person thinks he's so powerful that he had the ability to pick a governor. So the entire more than 10 million indigenes of Rivers State cannot choose a governor. They wait for their outgoing governor to pick for them. If you don't fix that root cause of the problem, the talk of sole administrator is secondary. President Tinubu did not remove governor of Rivers State because he feels it is legal or illegal. Before the document went to the National Assembly, he had sworn in Chivibo Gete Ibas. So it was not about legality. It's because he believes he can do it and nothing will happen. There are no consequences. So if you do not fix the root cause of that issue that have led to where we are talking about, why is the sole administrator conducting elections? So you must go back there. If not, by 2027, the president can decide to wake up and suspend anybody. That is absolute state capture. So we have a one-party state. That's not a democracy.
But the elections are going to go on.
It will go on.
And the Cross Riverian is going to oversee it.
Yes.
So what do you think about that?
It is up to the people of Rivers State and Nigerians to decide what level of corruption or criminality we are ready to take. That is what Nigerian politicians do. They test you in one level. Once you submit to it, it scales up.
Okay. Democracy,
yes, sir,
as a means or mode of governance, how viable is it in Nigeria? Because we're practicing democracy, but at the end of the day, from all you described, it doesn't look like we have elections. It looks more like we have selections.
Yes.
So do you think democracy can work in Nigeria? And if your answer is no, what other options do you think we have?
Daddy Freeze, do you know that my answer is an absolute yes? Democracy can work in Nigeria. You know, I take to that submission of, I think, the former British Prime Minister, Winston Churchill, who said that democracy is the worst system of government until you try every other system of government. To everybody who criticizes democracy, you will appreciate it when you try another one. There is a communist system in China. There are different parts. The problem with Nigeria is democracy has two faces. There is the principle and the practice of democracy. If you follow the principle of democracy in the sense of power coming from the people, holding people accountable, with people having their liberty and justice to chart their own course, beautiful. Nigerians have put democracy in principle on the side, and the democracy in practice have been hijacked by a handful of political elites who have now privatized the profits and socialized losses to Nigerians. So the people who are benefiting in democracy today are politicians. That is why on Democracy Day, June 12th, the only people you see holding parties in government houses, governor, president, they go there, they open bed, they cut cake. Nigerians who are on the street are asking, where are the dividends of this democracy? So democracy as it is a viable system of government, but it is what we make of it. It is as viable as we are willing and ready to fight for it, because lack of it we do not exist in a vacuum. We are the collateral for any type of democracy that does not function well.
How do you define good governance in practical terms, and what are the first three reforms you believe would genuinely change Nigeria for the better today?
Good governance is simple. It is good governance. Governance that is good, that everybody is enjoying. Where the average person wakes up with a sense of responsibility and citizenship to a country, where you are proud of your heritage as a person. When you can come out and say that I am Nigerian, I am proud of my roots, my passport is opening doors for me, I earn the respect on the international stage as every other citizen of any nation in the world. Where that every child is given equal opportunity to live up to their God-given potentials. That is what good leadership will be about. But unfortunately, what we have today is the textbook definition of how now to govern a country. So if we want to talk about reforms, the judiciary is bad, the law enforcement system is in shambles, the civil service, the health sector, the oil sector. But as I have always said, the number one priority must be the electoral process. Why? Because unfortunately, the judicial arm of government are the only unelected arm of government. They are appointed by the executive, confirmed by the Senate. So for you to fix if we do a protest now to pursue the judges, they'll be reappointed by President Tinubu and are confirmed by Senator Akpabio and his people there. So you must now fix the process through which the executive and legislative arms get into power. Because if you don't have control of that process, they continue to recycle themselves. That is why you see yourself in a vicious circle of lamentations. Nigeria's problem do not change. You only discuss it on different platforms. If you are talking about fuel subsidy, there was protest before. Inflation, it was before. Insecurity, it was before. You will just continue to regurgitate on it because you have not fixed the root cause and foundation of the problem.
You know, you've been championing this cause, this electoral reform cause, and I see it every time I follow up. But I want to know the progress. I want to know the progress
report.
You know, I mean, I'm sure that a lot of Nigerians also need to know where, at what level is it now? Do we have hope day? What's the level of progress, please?
Should I be very honest with you? Nigeria has become so bad that if you know the number or percentage of persons who do not believe that anything can work in this country, it is frightening.
Chai.
A lot of Nigerians have made up their minds that free and fair election are a mirage. You can't have it in Nigeria. When you have become a victim, it's like a person who has been in so much of an abusive relationship with a spouse. You become even fearful to leave because you believe that any other person you meet is the same thing. That is where Nigerians are. So this issue of elections, there are a lot of persons who will tell you outrightly that, Peter, you are wasting your time. It won't work. Because, and of a truth, there is good reason for that. Asking for electoral reform is like asking for resignation of the entire politicians who are there today. Who is going to sign my own resignation to leave? But the more reason why they will refuse is the more reason why you must insist. Because you know that you will now begin to ask yourself, the power of the people and the people in power, who should be greater? Calculate everybody who is in government, from the presidency, National Assembly, governors, 36, State House of Assembly. How many of them and how many are they holding hostage? So at a point, we become accomplices to our oppression. We are now voluntary slaves. So when it comes to this issue of election, even in the government quotas, because a lot of persons have been reaching out, we have heard a lot. Politicians are doing everything to ensure that it doesn't gain traction. This issue, that is why every other thing, they don't mind to bring a distraction. And with every day you spend time talking about something else from 2027 is a waste of time. They are consolidating on 2027. This government is one of the only governments who came in 2023 and less than 1 year began campaign for the next election. This current government is more interested in politics than governance. So if you are not interested in that politics by 2027, you are already on the back foot. So it doesn't matter. A lot of people have good reason why they will not be interested. I mean, there are people who were championing good causes. Reno was here some time ago. And then recently he was talking about how, Nigeria is an oil poor country and all of that. Imagine a mentality or a mindset of people where you value your resource or your riches with your natural resource. It's against your human capital development. The wealth of a country is being measured by how many oil we have. Meanwhile, if you take all of Nigeria's oil and give them good leadership, they will still be wealthier than some of the nations in the world. How many oil does Singapore have?
That's deep.
So when you see people like that who held the trust of the public, take a 360 and begin to glorify what they once condemned, people have good reason not to believe in the process. But at the end, I keep asking everybody, what is your other choice? Keep quiet and continue to die. Whether or not we speak up, Nigeria can happen to you. It's better we find the courage. So we are still in this, clarion call and calling on people. A lot of persons are coming in. Gradually, as I talk, they change. Maybe not immediately, but eventually. Nation building is not a sprint, it's a marathon. We keep trying.
Very true. So you said something that this government is more interested in politics than governance.
Yes.
Recently, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu launched the Renewed Hope Agricultural Program. Now, 2 years in office, the president promised to make agriculture, sexy again.
Yes.
And ensure that we are, self-sufficient, we can feed ourselves, and we don't have any issues because the land is green.
Yes.
But there were some very important questions that you asked.
Yes.
I would like for you to talk about the program first. This new agricultural program that has been launched. And then those questions that you posed, what exactly and why exactly did you pose those questions?
That is why I posed those questions, because to re-emphasize my first statement that Nigeria, what we call government, is organized criminality. So criminality is just cascaded to the other tiers of government. Without accountability, if you give local government autonomy, what you are doing is local government autonomy for corruption. If you diversify to agriculture, you are diversifying corruption to agricultural sector. The Renewed Hope agenda, according to, sending, and by the way, that was where President Tinubu met his schoolmate. I don't know if you went to Chicago, any of you went to Chicago State University here too.
I had my master's there.
Oh, you had your master's?
I'm joking.
Okay. You know Mr. Alex?
CSU.
Was he one of your persons? So, I'm sure that was where...
No, but Reno said he went to the school.
Yes.
Reno
and
they
provided evidence.
Yes, that he did not go to that school.
No,
that
he went to the school.
Reno Mokri, I have the video on my phone. He's one of the only persons who has gone to Chicago State University and confirmed that President Tinubu did not school there and that he was a drug lord, according to Reno's own statement. That he got a docket to show that. Reno Mokri is one of the only persons who has gone to that school to confirm.
But that's not what
Reno
said.
He retracted that statement.
I think I think he said it, then went to the school, found out, and then retracted.
Yeah, he retracted.
Tinubu had this issue. I went to the Chicago State University. I went there, I saw the documents myself. Bola Tinubu is a known drug lord. I went there. Another person isn't telling me. You see the picture on the screen. I took that picture. If you move to the right, you're going to see me in that picture. Bola Tinubu is a known drug lord. He has this man who's going to be the Minister of Labor and Productivity, or rather say on productivity, who went on TV to try to hoodwink Nigerians, telling them that the charge against Bola Tinubu was just for tax, that all he paid was tax, that it had nothing to do with drugs. That is a big lie. I have the document here. Nigerians can see it. I hope you can see it on the screen here. I have the document here. It actually says, and if you look at it, it says docket. A docket, and as I'm speaking, your viewers can go on Google and fact check me.
In any case, what he was establishing here is the fact that he went to go and establish that the president is a known drug lord that was convicted, talking about his drug forfeiture case in the United States, and why he did not attend or complete whatever program he claimed to have completed in the Chicago State University. So when you see a person like Reno Mokri make a 360, the mistake you will make in Nigeria is to take political jobbers for genuine statesmen. Not everybody who criticizes a bad government is interested in a better country. A lot of persons are okay to take corruption for as long as they are beneficiaries of it. You can criticize corruption, but the question is, if the tables turn and it begins to favor you, is it still corruption? Have you seen when Reno Mokri was singing praises of a person like Mr. Peter Obi? He said on this show that he never liked him. He made videos on that. Let me show you.
You get receipt.
Let me show you now, so that he no go be like, say, nah, this thing.
But let's talk about Peter Obi while you're looking for the video.
The video is here.
When DC came in for the National Prayer Breakfast. But you see, I listened to this man. I listened to Governor Peter Obi. And, ex-Governor Peter Obi, the plans, the ideas, this man raised the bar of leadership in Nigeria. He raised the bar of leadership in Nigeria. Since he left office, can you believe that this man does not take anything, not even like a penny from the Anambra State government? And while he was there, he was a man that built up Anambra State. Anambra State used to be almost educationally disadvantaged. And then in less than 2 years, he brought them to be number one. He left that state with a reserve. Look, we need people like this. I'm so proud of Governor Obi. I listened to him today, and I was taught that
he was taught
this in Nigeria. I'm very proud of this man.
Wow.
Look at everything that he has touched. He made money for himself in the private sector. He made money for Anambra State in government. Anambra State doesn't borrow money. Are you aware of that? These bailout funds that the current administration is giving states. Anambra State, he left enough for Anambra State. I'm very proud of this man.
Wow. But he was only doing something because former President Jonathan sent him. So it was former President Jonathan who sent him to sing these praises and adoration. You see, Nigerians, a lot of Nigerian politicians cannot survive opposition. Once your government has left office, you left office in 2015 with President Jonathan. You tried to fight the Buhari government, you couldn't come back. You were almost like a fugitive in a foreign country. You know that the only way you can come back and reconnect to that conduit of collecting from the national cake is to begin to sing praises of the current administration. So people will go back and swallow their words. No, Reno Mokri led a protest to chase President Tinubu out of London. He led a protest, the hotel where they went there, and he boasted about it. It is Reno Mokri who is telling you that he never liked President Jonathan and that President Tinubu is the next good thing after, best thing after sliced bread. take Nigerian politicians at their word at your own risk.
But does that not include Peter Obi?
Okay. In what sense?
Yesterday, a video came out about Peter Obi's brother, who turned out not to be his brother, and about the whole land thing. And I always say something. This is my opinion, though. I don't believe there's any politician that is better than the other. It's like comparing AIDS with herpes or syphilis. None
all
is
are killer
good.
diseases.
You understand? It's just that sometimes if you're on the right medication, HIV will look normal. It's not like it's good. Because I'll give you some example. You did mention the 10th under
the 10th
assembly under Senator Akpabio. But Senator Akpabio was one of the best governors. His reforms in Akwa Ibom,
uncommon governor.
The work he did in Akwa Ibom, I can argue it was way better than the work Obi did in Anambra. But you see, like I said, a politician will always be a politician. And we talk about Obi. My greatest criticism of Obi, I love him as a person. I think he's brilliant and all, but I can't divorce him from the fact that he worked hand in hand with Abacha. He was the MD of the National Ports Authority under a regime like General Sani Abacha's regime. We know that in this world, the corruption of a country starts at its ports. How can we have this great, fantastic political leader who is a saint today but worked with General Abacha? What are your...
Daddy Freeze, let me make it very clear here. Let me say that as much as a lot of what you will say is right, all politicians are not the same. There is no perfect human being. But the current governor of Abia State is not the same with the current governor of Kogi State. All politicians are not the same. Nigerians have an idea that you may need to look for a saint, but there is corruption even in the Vatican where the Pope is. There is corruption in Mecca where people go as the Holy Land to go and stone the devil at the Mount of Arafat. The issue is, are the characters and competencies of a person pointing to the fact that you can use public office for public good? If you want to check on those bases, Peter Obi, a person like him, has been consistent with his politics. From being governor, he made a statement. Peter Obi made a statement publicly and said, I am not a saint, but I'm not a thief. Daddy Freeze, 98% of Nigerian politicians cannot make that statement because they are thieves. Yes. Government in Nigeria is criminality. And look, if you want to really be fair to the person of Peter Obi, of course he could have worked in the Abacha administration, he could have worked, but what has been his track record? What was his wealth before going into public office as a governor? What did he get after? Remember that for the kind of opposition Peter Obi has been, if there was one thing that the government could have had against Peter Obi, he should be in court. The person who succeeded Peter Obi, Chief Wilberforce Obiano, is in the EFCC books questioning for money laundering.
Could it be that Peter Obi already had... Because, you see, there's no way we can divorce this Abacha. You cannot be head of port and then you tell me that I lived... I'm 49 this year. I was in university when Abacha was in power.
Yes.
And I'm aware of what... I'm aware of the... A lot of you might not be aware of the smelling fuel. Do you remember the 6 months of smelling fuel?
No.
I only heard of that.
I witnessed it. I used to enter inside Danfo and you want to die. And this fuel was imported. It passed somewhere to get into this country. So, yes, I understand. Ideology for ideology, yes, I understand. But I still worry. Let me put it that way. About his, can I say, romance with the government of Abacha. Maybe if he can draw some clarity, maybe if he can give us some clarity, okay, when I work with General Sani Abacha, this and this, that might just make me switch over to his side.
Okay, because it is important that you interrogate that, because we are going to put the flip side on the other side. Because if not Peter Obi, the other persons and the role they played, from the Third and Fourth Republic up to this point. So we have to put it on a scale and a balance. The role of Peter Obi as at that time and the role of these others leading up till today. You watch the recent interview by Alhaji Sule Lamido, the former governor of Jigawa State, on what the current president allegedly his role throughout the Nadeko and Abacha and Abiola issue.
Absolutely.
Which he has, glorified and even put himself as the center, as a, whatever it is called, a hero of democracy. All we are trying to say is that, can you get leadership that you can hold accountable? Can you get leadership? Because, Daddy Freeze, we would not get St. Peter or St. Paul to become president of Nigeria. The Nigerian that will be president will be amongst the 200 and so million of us that are here. I have a past. You have a past. Is your past nasty, too nasty for you to hold public office? At least within the 8 years that Peter Obi was governor, he has made a case for himself. Do you know that Professor Charles Soludo, the current governor of Anambra State, did not support him in 2023? Even though he ran on his popularity to become governor. He supported the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. He came out with a scathing rebuke of Peter Obi before the elections and said that was just going to be part one. He tested the waters. When he saw the feedback, till today, Professor's solution has not brought part two. He said in that book, in that statement, he said, I am current governor and I have the records. Obi came out and said, whatever records you have, reproduce them. It cannot be that two successive governors can cover up everything now. So even if we don't want to go, or we can't go as far back, of which legitimately you can ask questions about his role, what he did in that administration as a ports authority head. But within the period that now that people have followed, he has come out with a record that what exactly was it? Most of the politicians we have, what was their economic or financial stand before they got into public office? What was President Tinubu doing before he became a politician? People in Nigeria, politicians have wealth without enterprise. People go into public office 4 years, become billionaires, and they call them philanthropists. With which person money? You carry state money, they use person money, do philanthropy.
No possible.
Then you are going to pocket it. The money you should have used to provide blanket health insurance for all people, you pocket. Then one person go sick, you go give him. He go naked, go stand for beach. They pray for you during election. Say, make you win. As against what? Please, when we talk about character and competence, I think that a person like Peter Obi, even if I'm not holding his place, have proven anybody that will tell you that I was not withdrawing from my salaries as a governor and I am not taking any pension. The current pension scheme of President Tinubu includes overseas medical treatment for a non-specified number of family members. Have you read the pension scheme of Lagos State governors? Including routine changing of cars, security vehicles, houses in Maitama, in the choice places in Asokoro or Maitama, in Lagos. Have you seen the Lagos State governor's pension bill? The salary of a former governor.
Wait, Lagos State governor?
Yes.
Has a house, or is supposed to have a house.
On your retirement, you are supposed to have a house.
In Abuja.
And Lagos. Go and download them and check. And Obi comes out and tell you that they even gave me land and I wrote a letter to reject. Look, it is not, you cannot get a person as a saint, or you cannot claim to be a perfect person. But when it comes to the character, capacity, and consistency in public office, I think that we should be fair to a person like Peter Obi. We are talking about YX certificate of president. We are looking for schoolmates. We just saw Mr. Alex after many years. And so let's be fair and honest with ourselves. Do you know that in 2015 rather, or 2019, I voted Atiku Abubakar and Obi ticket. I have always known that the Buhari issue will be a calamity. APC was headed for destroying Nigeria. It is not, anybody who had any political foresight will know that. Is Alhaji Atiku Abubakar a saint? No. But he's one of the most cosmopolitan Nigerians we have in this country when it comes to politics. He's somebody who can be a friend to any part of the country. And he can be a bridge for you to link the old and new. You cannot get all at once. Get one person that you know can connect you to the generation you want. If you want to wait until a saint come, we may never have it.
Talking about the younger generation, as you mentioned, generation, with what the coconut head generation. What we have been through over these past years, from 2020 to the elections, the whole violence, the disenfranchisement of people by way of, them looking for their cards. I mean, without my voter's card, I can't vote. So I'm not seeing my card. Then after a while, they're seeing 1 million cards or 300 cards somewhere in the bush. Yes. Those voters have been disenfranchised. With everything that we have been through, or we have been through, and a couple of people, if you ask them, they will say, I beg, I don't want to waste my time. I mean, I think that the momentum of the last election was so high that after it, the disappointment, there was just like a dip.
Yes.
What do you think about the forthcoming election? Do you think that we are ever going to have the type of momentum that we had during the last election? Do you think that the youth are going to show up the way that they showed up the last time?
Incoming.
By the special grace of
God. Should I answer that question? Let me ask you this question. When you are under oppression, how long do you fight for freedom?
Until you regain freedom.
But for as long as it takes. You do not have an option. Incoming. You can be going out today, God forbid. A lawyer was killed in Aja when she was going to drop her child 2 years ago by police stray bullets. Nigeria can meet you. Your own may not even be a stray bullet. Somebody in your family might be rushed to loot now and there is no oxygen. The difference between a Nigerian, you are one emergency away from being confirmed dead in Nigeria. It might even be that there is an ambulance, but because there is no road infrastructure, they no green let the ambulance pass. There is no special lane. It can be as small as that. It can be light that take off, be power that takes off.
At the theater.
At the theater while there is operation. And then doctor begin to use torch. And because there is shortage of doctors now. In fact, in Nigeria today, if you want to die, go to the hospital.
Wow.
Yes, if you want to be a sinner, go to church. If you want to be... Yes, that is it. If you want to be robbed, go to the police station. Oh, I know you like it. If you want to be robbed, go to police station.
Now, I want to bring you... Oh, so sorry. Just this, because we're talking about Peter Obi, I wanted to land here.
On it.
I used to be a great Obi supporter.
Yeah.
Until I made a statement once and obedience came for me.
Yeah.
And that's why I said, I can't deal with this.
With this.
How can... I love the way you respond.
Yes, sir.
You are with a smiling face. You are not... condescending. If you are not an obedient, you're a fool, you are an idiot. You are talking facts and figures. You are intelligent and intellectual. Maybe that can bring some people who ran away because of the madness that you say one thing about Obidi, you trend for 2 weeks and you know they are coming for you. How can you take this mentality to the people? Let's discuss. We don't have to be enemies. We don't have to support the same party system or the same ideology, but we don't need to throw stones at each other before we can. How do you, because I'm sure you are aware of the antecedents of our brothers and sisters.
You are asking an absolutely beautiful question. It is very, very important because I have my own personal concerns. And especially, I just had to talk about Obi because it came up on this forum. This electoral reform we are talking about, we want to ensure that we do it as Nigerians and not with a partisan coloration. Nigerians have a mindset which is very, very erroneous, that when you love people, you cannot criticize them. Nigerians like to make oracles or demigods out of human beings. Every time I tell obedience when we have discussions, I'm not loyal to, for example, Peter Obi. I'm loyal to your values, the values you hold that I share, of humanity, of integrity, of competence. If you are a thief, I'm not loyal to you. I don't have it. And you are not the only path to a better Nigeria. If you fail to do it, God will raise people. There are Nigerians who have the capacity. But at this point, you can be a vessel that will be used now. But everybody has the right to question. Even Peter Obi does not go against dissent. He will even tell you that if I come to a place and everybody say they love me, I will walk out of it. It is fanatical fans. It is Nigerians who believe that once you question a thing, it is hate or anger. That is where that mindset comes from. So don't talk about him in a negative light. No, because you believe that you are more Catholic than the Pope. So you love him more than we. But even the Bible says that the child that he loves, he chastises. We should disagree but not be disagreeable. after all, in the end of it all, Shebina make Nigeria better, all of us they fight for, including even the Obi himself. So why should we not discuss and where there are gray areas? Sometimes you see some people who go on TV and say, oh, they disagree with this, and then you see it online, they begin to bash. I said, no. Let us have a consensus and all of us. The important thing is that we are not enemies of each other. Our common enemy is a failed system. If we spend time pushing ourselves aside and then we break our stronghold, at the end of it, the person you are talking about does not achieve power that he's supposed to achieve. What does it pay us? If we continue to divide ourselves. So it is something that at every forum, when I have the opportunity to engage with some people and I let them know that disagreements, that is how I was brought up. My father, the way I'm talking to you is how I talk to my late father, and he's okay with it. Daddy, I don't like the way, why did you do this to my mother, or why did you? And he wants to train you to be courageous enough that even if you love me, be bold enough to query where you believe that I'm wrong. Nobody's an island of knowledge. Obi can make mistake now. So why not? So Nigerians must unlearn that when you love, or they must learn it that when you love people, you should be bold enough to correct them. It is still love. The important thing is let's achieve our goals.
Okay.
Let me quickly, sorry. Okay, so I've been listening since, and I realized that most of the things we're saying is mostly about the people at the top.
Yes.
I get it that if the structure is not well put together, the top will still remain corrupt. Like nothing is going to make it balanced. So we keep forgetting that there are like 774 local governments, right? And I'm not saying that we're not fighting for the right stuff, but you mentioned something about Peter Obi's history.
Yeah.
And I realized that they've removed government and history from the school syllabus.
Yes.
So what are we going to do about that so that the kids can learn about all of these things? I mean, I believe there are some other places we can channel our energy into, like reasons to come out, like more cogent reasons to come and protest and stuff. So, like, I mean, what do you think about that?
Fantastic, because Nigeria has a problem with national orientation, but we have a national orientation agency. NOA, that is collected, that is just like other civil servants now. Unfortunately, we are supposed to have, patriotism should be built from the cradle. From infancy, if you see the curriculum of Western world, people are brought up, children are trained to know that their loyalty is to their country.
North Korea.
That any sane
even
nation,
America.
even America. That is why everybody talks, my president, my anthem. In fact, the visa of the US, you will see it there, it is written, we the people. It is we Nigeria that they give you on behalf of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Because Nigerians sit down for that, they issue one. The people who are issuing it that do not even know what the Nigeria is all about. So then the curriculum that should even be inserted, there is a Universal Basic Education Act that covers the country, that provides for uninterrupted education from primary to secondary school, and then you take out part of the curriculum. If you want to overhaul that system, you must fix governance. How much is being budgeted for education? How much is budgeted for street lights for Nigeria? Everything is dysfunctional. In fact, if a politician is doing something today in Nigeria, it is not because they want to solve a problem. It is how what they are doing affects their coming back by the next election. If you see somebody commissioning school, it is not because they want to fix education. When you see the average Nigerian politician talking, it is not about you and me. It is about how to consolidate power. So anything that is not driving to that point, how we can make money from this contract or project, they are not interested in the details of it. So for us to get that kind of national awareness and orientation, forums like this are important. Unfortunately, the church that is supposed to be almost the religious wings of the parties, political parties, the religious institutions. The traditional institutions are completely, in fact, President Obasanjo said that known drug lords and criminals are being given chieftaincy titles in Nigeria today. Then men of God and religious leaders, imams that are supposed to speak truth to power, are rather beneficiaries of the corruption. So when they come, we need a project of 200 million, a politician come and give you, and then you say, praise the Lord, our testimony is answered. That is money that was supposed to build hospital. You are partaking in stealing. You are a thief.
Talking about building and commissioning, the FCT minister recently renovated the ICC.
Yes.
And announced that it had now been renamed after President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You responded to that.
Yes.
I would like for you to just explain why.
Husband material. The larger question will be, why is this government behaving as if it is in panic mode? What is this penchant for self-gratification? Why is President Tinubu in a hurry to name national monuments with his name? You should leave office and let the person who comes after you through a committee that is set up honor your legacy. Is that not how it is done? You change a barracks to Bola Ahmed Tinubu barracks. There is an airport in Niger State that was named after one of the northern leaders. It has been renamed back to Bola Ahmed Tinubu International. The way Nigeria is going, it might even become Bola Ahmed Tinubu Nigeria PLC or and Sons by the end of his tenure. So now we got to the ICC, a building or whatever, that a property that was built since 1990. It was built during Babangida. Between that time and now, it's more than 30 years. Look at the criminality in the Nigerian system. Within the 30 years that it was established, it did not generate funds to even be able to renovate itself. So we budgeted 39 billion from other aspects of governance to renovate a property that was built with less than 30 million at the time. And then we renamed it not after the person who built, but the person who renovated. That is where Wike and Tinubu are. So there is this quest for validation. Power must come from the people. You do not need to write your names on monuments. You can write your names on the hearts of people. Mandela does not need a statue. South Africans are beholden to him. Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew of Singapore does not need. They will write books about him. The people, the lives that you impacted are the monuments that outlive you. What you are doing there is a sham.
What do you think about Ibrahim Traore? And do you think Nigeria needs something like that?
Daddy Freeze. Do you know that as much as we will love what is happening in Burkina Faso, the unfortunate flip side of Nigeria is that our military has become so politicized that they are almost as corrupt as the political class.
I
believe they are.
We have had military leaderships in Nigeria. How far? Was it not military that are not June 12? The problem is what is going on with insecurity in Nigeria today. Nigerian military goes to Liberia, Sierra Leone, and they are able to maintain peace. How big is Sambisa Forest? But remember the words of a former minister for defense, General T.Y. Danjuma. He stood on a podium in Wukari in Taraba or Jalingo. He said they collude. The military, they collude. The current National Security Advisor, Oga Nuhu Ribadu, he went to Plateau when this recent killing happens. He said the arms and equipment that are being used to kill people are weapons that were stolen from government armory. That is, criminals are stealing weapons from government armory using to kill citizens, and the government cannot protect them. What is going on in the military? Have you heard stories of younger soldiers? What of General Abu, the person who led the battalion? You remember the story. So as much as we want to look at, I believe in democracy, and I'm a Democrat. And I believe that Nigerians have the maximum capacity to change their fortunes. For us to fix this nation, we don't need up to 10 million Nigerians. A strong 10,000 people who will occupy the National Assembly and the Presidential Villa, they will get the message. Nobody is as afraid or fearful as Nigerian politicians. So Burkina Faso has a template. It is working for them. Some part of it, do not forget that there can also be PR and propaganda there too, because we are not there. But on the general scale, it seems like they have it good now. Does Nigeria have that kind of figure? Because in case there is a military DC now, the Chief of Army Staff or Chief of Defense Staff is General Christopher Gwabin Musa. Okay. So, or the Chief of Army Staff. Or maybe they make Ibo get a boss who is in Rivers State now, who is appointing somebody from Cross River to head the election. Imagine you take over a military regime. Nigeria na wuru. Well, let us fix the system that we know, the democracy that we know. Because if we go flip and enter the one we will not know.
So
now express we did.
Do you believe that we need the younger generation, younger people, or younger people?
Yes.
Or we need older people? Because some people would also argue that as these ones are growing up, they are recruiting younger people to, step into their shoes. And some others will say it's better that we have an old 80-year-old or 70-year-old upright person than to have a 40-year-old corrupt person. Because the way that I'm looking at Nigeria now is not even about age now. It's about somebody that is upright. So speak to this.
Incoming. do not build institutions around the character or integrity of one person. That is why Nigeria made a grave mistake in 2015 by trying to change the fortunes of a nation on the integrity of one man, Buhari. They say if he comes, corruption will run. When he came and the body language was not body languaging, corruption started having calisthenics and Olympics. At the end of that regime, that was one of the most corrupt regimes since 1999. The central bank governor is still in custody.
So are you saying it was not a Buhari problem? It was a cabinet
It was a Buhari problem. What Nigeria is experiencing today is the ghost of the Buhari presidency. Tinubu and Buhari are each other's, they complement each other and they inherit each other in the same way. He worked to bring him, he worked to bring this person. That is where Nigeria is. The mistake in 2015 was that Nigerians paid more attention to who they wanted to vote out than who they were bringing in. So in search of a solution, Nigeria institutionalized a calamity. And we have been struggling to undo that calamity till date. Because they are not like Jonathan, who will say my ambition is not worth the blood of any Nigerian and I will stay off in 2015. No, these ones are hell-bent on holding. It's a political dynasty. They rather die.
So what do you think Nigerians should
So
do?
when it comes to whether old or young, my response is build a system of accountability. No, there is nobody that has integrity in the long run is mostly to people you may not know. Incoming, as I have had this relationship, this is my first time of meeting you. If we build on this relationship, if tomorrow I happen to be president of this country, if you commit an offense that I have the powers to release you, I will not see you go to jail. I will not watch my wife go to jail. That is human. Integrity most times is channeled towards people that you may not really know relate to with blood. You can't watch your mother go to jail. But when there is a system that enforces and holds everybody to account, everybody will sit up. The US system that you see, Donald Trump is not a saint. No US president is a saint. It is the institutions that instill discipline on you. Whether you want to be corrupt. Ben Carson went when he in Trump's first term. You know Dr. Ben Carson, the renowned neurosurgeon. He was appointed, gifted hands, think big, God bless you. He was appointed US Secretary of Housing by President Trump. He went there because he's a wealthy man. He took some of his own personal resources to refurbish his office. He was invited by the US Congress. See, there is an account, there is a budget. You cannot do ostentatious. If we need, there is an office of budgeting. Yes, you have money, but now you're in public office. When you're in private sector, you can do. So there are, in America, they say you cannot beat traffic because there is a system that will capture before you know they can't serve you paper. Have you not seen white men beat traffic in Lagos? Have you not seen expatriate drink and drive? Nobody is born with the innate ability to do good. You are an open slate.
We have camera in Lekki now.
Okay, they work.
It's working. It actually works.
So
no, it works.
It
works. But it not go catch you drunk.
It not go catch you drunk. And then when it catch you, by the time he register you, you go there. You think say if he catch you, we be you, and he catch senator, now the same offense, now punishment, now both of them go through. Just know one person there. Call, tell and say, they say, oh, now this thing catch me. In fact, if na big man, they go even call the Oga, they chastise them. Say, why will your people go send me paper? The person there go, they apologize. That is Nigerian system. The fact that you can do anything and go away because you have the influence. So the answer is not in 50-year-old. Of course, the personal physical stamina that is needed is quite an experience. You need energy. You need somebody who is mentally alert. But in all of it, I'm saying get a system where if somebody fails to live up to your expectation, you can take them out. Why die with somebody who is incapacitated?
You get what you talk about 2015, that Nigerians were concerned about. Nigerians were more concerned about voting.
The person you are voting out.
The person they were voting out, than the one that came in.
Yes.
And so that person institutionalized a calamity.
Yes.
Now, we don't see attempts by some political bigwigs to form coalition to comot the APC from government. What do you think about this attempt by political gladiators like Rotimi Amechi, Malam Nasiru El-Rufai,
all of them,
and the rest, to pool resources and unseat the APC?
Beautiful. Coalition good now. But you know the reason why we always think we need a coalition? Because we believe that we cannot have free and fair election if people divide the votes. Since you fail to fix INEC, you need one force against the incumbent so that you overwhelm the system. If INEC is working well, Obi, Atiku, Tinubu, Kwankwaso in 2023, there was a winner. If the results that move from here to here are collated, there is a winner. Who was
the real winner?
INEC knows. Mahmoud Yakubu.
I'm asking you.
But you know, since I was not with the INEC server and they said there was a glitch. So
my interest is in
what caused the glitch. And why should we not have further glitches? That is why you see me shouting all the shouts I've been shouting. Because you know why? I am not interested in a coalition that is interested in taking power for the sake of power. We saw it in 2015. They came together. All the people, part of the people where they formed coalition now, they were coaliting in 2015 now. What happened to that coalition that brought President Buhari? We must have a system that is people-oriented. Leadership power should not be in all of since 1960. How many of about the 15 presidencies plus head of states you have had? About 10 have come from the north. How has it translated to the betterment of the lives of people in the north? Educationally, they are the most backward. Economically, in what terms? Insecurity, which? So in Nigeria, people take power for the sake of power, for personal self-gratification, financial aggrandizement, stealing public funds, enriching their families. They'll be promoting Almajiri in the north for other people's children. Their own children are studying in Harvard and Yale. So if coalition wants to work, it must be coalition that is against hunger, insecurity, inflation, bad economy, on education, illiteracy. That is the coalition. Power that is interested in the people. We must fix INEC. Nobody should be afraid of fixing INEC.
Power interested in the people instead of the people interested in power.
Thank you, Daddy.
I don't give you one.
You don't give me one.
You're really vocal. I mean, if they leave me and you here,
we go talk.
You're really vocal. Like, you know they fear anybody. It shows in your, and it's transfer of energy because anybody that watches your video, the person is as gingered as you are, like, you know. Are people after your life?
Incoming.
Now, before you answer, I didn't like the words you were using. You were saying relationship wife. Why? Because just before you came, somebody around and is our friend. So just understand.
Okay. Where you talk, should I go ahead? Or I should turn this way to my good left?
She's the other.
Blessed I am among women. So Daddy, please. Okay, you see, ma, I don't carry the way by the beauty now. So what was the question?
So the question is, you are very vocal.
Yes, very vocal.
Do you
about
get threats? Are they after your life?
It is. Nobody can be after my life. Nobody can take from me life that you did not give to me. The Almighty God is able to protect lives. Am I concerned? Yes. Of course, whenever you are standing for whatever that is true and is worth it, there will be risk attached to it. Entering motor from here, go to Ojota is a risk. There is no guarantee that I will reach. So it is the same risk I'm taking now. I see the messages, I see the information. Now, if you see me most times, I no get motor. If to come here now, so you go. So I need to cover nose marks and cap, and then you see people say, "No, be him, be that, no, be this person." You know all these people
because you're wearing an electoral.
No, it's because I'm here. There is something I'll put on top of it by the time I step out of here. But the good thing is that truth is enough. As long as what I'm doing, if what I'm doing is about selfish interest, I don't know President Tinubu, I don't know Akpabio, I don't know Peter Obi, I've never met any of these people. If what I'm doing is because I want to gain something, then you know that you are coming from a place that is tainted. But if what I'm doing is because I believe that a country should be better, people should not die, and people should not live in the midst of abundance and live in abject poverty, then that truth and your conscience is able to keep you. No matter how far a lie runs, the truth will catch up with it. So my greatest fear is not death, it's living a life of cowardice. A life that I could not get what I want because I was too afraid to speak up and demand for it. People are dying. It's not in the number of years. You can live till 90 and you still die as a fool. People lived for 40 years and they die and their names are still remembered. People died during NSAS. People are still in prison from that NSAS protest. If we decide to keep quiet, what are we paying them for? We let all of that energy waste. We cannot decide to be lethargic. Nigerians have there is good reason. I always say it. I don't blame anybody who has given up on Nigeria or who says it cannot work. But I always ask you, what is your other option? If you talk, you go die. You no talk, you go. May we shall talk now. May we try. Who knows?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the youth can be seen as the beacon of political hope, like renewal hope, right? So the pattern. Do you think the pattern at which the political socialization and culture is affecting the youth opportunities in politics. Do you think the pattern of political socialization and culture is affecting the youth in politics?
It's affecting everybody. The youth, the women. Look, when it is deliberate that the process be so crude and criminal, what we have is not government of the people. It is government by criminals for criminals, and only criminals can prevail. If you don't have a certain amount of billions, you cannot contest for governorship or senate. That is why you need godfathers to sponsor you. So when you get there, your loyalty is to them. It is deliberate. And the more that process is made difficult, the more Nigerians get frustrated and refuse to pay attention. And the more you don't pay attention, it is a blessing to the politicians. Whatever that will take you away from there. So it is not just affecting the youth. Even good and sane people who want to go in cannot. Why did former Vice President Oshibanjo not scale through the price? Imagine if the 2023 ticket was maybe Oshibanjo, Obi, Kwankwaso, or Fashola, or any of some of the cerebral people. Maybe Akin Adeshino, the president of AFDP. The system does not give room for that. It is very crude and it's intentional. So everybody becomes... That is why you say... Why do you think people say politics is a dirty game? It's a dirty game, but it's a game of lives, of human blood. So that system will have to be fixed. They sign not too young to run bill. I mean, not too old, whatever Buhari called it. Then they put a nomination form for 100 million. So you are not too young to run, but you are also too poor to run.
Hey,
so it just be like say still system say okay, as soon as they complain, we'll give you now.
Carrot and stick, shall take then wipe you for court. Go there. You say you want to run.
You talk something, say if you want to be a sinner, go to the church.
Go to church.
If you want to be robbed,
yes, go to police station.
Let's start.
And if you want to die, go to the hospital.
Go to hospital.
Let's look at religion.
Yes.
And religious leaders. Then get plenty influence. We don't see those where we say publicly don't use their voice.
Yes.
We don't see those where we say maybe privately, and then they use their voice. But irrespective of religion difference or denomination, what do you think religious leaders should be doing at this time with respect to compelling our elected representatives to work in the best interest of the people?
What exactly was the instruction of Christ in the Bible and even in the Holy Quran to people who were given the responsibility of religious leadership? Speaking truth. Speaking truth. Jesus came for the less privileged, for people who were, marginalized, so to say, in the society. So if you look at all the prophets, Elijah, Isaiah, and all of them, what did they do? Talk to kings, Moses, and the rest of them. Because God was always interested in liberation, liberty. Unfortunately, we have decided to create this organized kind of religious setup has now made people believe that the problems we face are all spiritual. Instead of telling the people the truth to know that 70 to 80% of what you spend time praying in religious houses are issues that will be fixed by an efficient government.
90%.
It is only in Nigeria that people pray, make NEPA give light. Yes. Somebody will pass
you pray
jam.
for a job.
Yes, you pray for a job, even after meeting the requirements. You will get pass jam, pass WAEC, pass the post-UTME, and you'll be praying for admission. Why? Because there are supplementary lists that anybody can come into. It is all a ploy. And it is all because the average black Christian or Muslim or religious person is a lazy person. They do not want to learn and know God for themselves, so they outsource it to religious figures.
Brilliant.
Who begin to interpret scriptures based on their own ideologies and personal, to satisfy their personal, on the biases. And then, because of that, you are now controlled by whatever they come to say. If you study the word of God, you know that you don't need a pastor to be healed. The Spirit of the Holy Spirit
100%.
is in you. You are a man. In fact, as a Christian, you are ordained as a priest, a king unto God. The book of Revelations. But we have commercialized it. And then so the people are now cashing out. That is why a man of God that is supposed to tell you that let us fix governance and speak truth will tell you are led by a pillar of cloud in a day, pillar of fire at night. But that they use bulletproof SUV and 8 mopo protecting you and mommy. So in case you are doing 2-factor authentication, in case that Holy Spirit pillar of cloud no work, the bulletproof go cover you. You understand? That is where Nigeria is. And a lot of the religious leaders, they are in bed with the politicians. There is almost no separation.
What did I say just before he came? I said religion is in bed. That's what we're discussing.
So what a lot will come to church to do is theater. It's drama now. It's stage performance.
Circus.
We just continue in that. I am a Christian. I speak in tongues. I'm born a Catholic. I believe in God. I have been, whether Pentecostal, whether I know my relationship with God. And I know that if truly you are in that intimate relationship with God, you cannot overlook the plight of a fellow person. The pain of that person should be your pain. How can you be pastoring a congregation where 80% of them are living in abject poverty? You know the solution and you refuse to say you want to do handouts, empowerment, 1 bag of rice for how many days to eat when we can fix government. There are leaders who are so influential, both Christian and Islam, that if they make a statement, they can sway the outcome of an entire election. They will not, because they are beneficiaries of that criminal system. So you who is there being brainwashed and saying you are doing this, you are doing that, you are the real victim. When push comes to shove, they will be on the next private jet out of these countries. They are telling you to pray for Nigeria, but buying mansions in countries that are not Christians. What prayer is building Russia? What prayers build the Iron Dome system in Israel? In Dubai, where they go for seminars. Nigerians must decide to build a system that works and don't allow charlatans begin to mislead you.
There was an incident that happened recently in Lagos where a pastor was driving in his SUV. You already know where I'm going. No need
you
to
mentioned security
because you talked about security. Now, I understood the pastor's pain because he felt threatened.
Yeah.
He was scared because he was driving in Ikoyi and, anything can happen. He had his escort, but that was not enough. So a young man was filming content like you have in every country.
An aggressive content.
No, I didn't say that, you did.
Okay.
So what is your take on that matter? I see you as a reformer.
Yeah.
What is your take on that matter? Don't you think that if the security system of religious leaders that is government ordained, the power of protection for a pastor does not come from God. It comes from the government. Because you can't get police without the government. I can't pray now, say, Father, I'm closing from Honest Bunch, I want to go home. Father, send me police. No, I've got to know somebody to call who.
Yes.
So how do you think that if we dismantle the protection of the men, let them drive on these streets with us, let them enter Uber with us, let them go on the road with us. Okay, yes, they want to buy you. They want to buy you. Is any man of God under more threat than this man that is speaking against a whole system of election? I believe you should be driving around with bulletproof. But if you can find your way, because Papa, now when you get money, you go. If money no day, you go still go out.
Yes.
You understand? What do you think about that? Do you think that's my first question. Security and Nigerian pastors, especially in a state that is relatively safe, like Lagos. Secondly, do you think that Nigeria is spending too much of its resources on prayer and spirituality and church and mosque and all those things? By resources, I subscribe to finances through tithe, seed, offering, building projects, and human resources, time. We sweep the church, we attend the service, we share the pamphlets. Do you think that our time and money are consolidated into the wrong activities?
Daddy Freeze, you see this question. In fact, I try as much as I can, if you follow me on social media, not to dabble. I don't dabble into personality talk.
Okay.
As long as it does not affect fixing governance, because all of these issues are symptoms of a problem. They are not the root cause.
Okay.
What you see with, you were talking about the man of God who had, a simple thing. If the man of God had not rolled down and just drove past, we will not be discussing this. There was a reason why an elite felt that I was threatened by somebody who was holding a phone and I had to roll down. There is a reason for that. And then when you come out, there is this thing about religious leaders and trying to Christianize or put religious undertone about everything. A simple, I was sorry, it was an oversight, I probably overreacted, I could have been, you should be concerned about your personal security. Even though you had an SUV, a van that was filled with security persons, you still felt threatened. Not using scripture to explain what you did that you saw that was obviously probably an overreacting. That it is synonymous with religious persons. If you see any pastor who has a failed marriage, the wife is a witch. It is never, the pastor is not the problem. Mama caused it. And do you know the number of religious leaders whose wives are victims of domestics and different kinds of other forms of violence? When you go there, they will use scripture because the scripture can explain anything. If you want to be a drug addict or a drunkard, you can see a scripture to back you up. But when you come to this issue of security, the Nigerian law enforcement and policing system is structured for the elites. Nigeria's police is a total, according to the former IGP Solomon Arase, we are about 470 or 400,000 police officers. More than 200,000 of that number are drafted to protect politicians, religious leaders, traditional leaders, and anybody of influence. A Yahoo boy can go to a police station and take 4 mopo to follow and go one barrier. Just recently, you saw a video that they investigate. An actress was running or jogging and had how many mopo beside them?
And a truck. A truck.
I didn't see the police. I just saw the badly constructed
vehicle.
That's
okay. So that is where it is. Until you unbundle that structure of criminality that protects the elite. We were in Abuja recently. We went to court on the day they arraigned Senator Natasha. I followed somebody because there were some other cases there. You needed to see the entrance of the court because a senator was being arraigned, or not a criminal offense, so civil defamation. It was like there was an attack there. Do you know what it cost the DSS to take Mazi Nnamdi Kanu every day to court and back? Have you seen the budgeting? For him, there will be MOPO, there will be DSS, there will be police, there will be road safety. Roads will be blocked. If you see the entrance of the court, how will you protect Yelewata in Benue State?
When
everybody is somewhere. So there are places in Nigeria that are ungoverned spaces. Meanwhile, politician, as he gets in MOPO, the wife has her own. The children are also protected, the extended families. There are police officers who are also carrying pause for Olori. Going to party to help her take her food from the buffet. So all of that system,
insecurity.
It is a structure of criminality. That is how Nigeria is configured, not to do well for the elite. So they privatize the profit and socialize losses to you. So you will continue to be the victim until you decide to rise up and say, we want to insert ourselves in the conversation. It is about our lives. Let us have some value. Because guess what? No matter how you complain now, because of the hunger and illiteracy, make one politician who is stealing your money still come here. Babab. Babab. Everybody go to hail him. Odogu, because you won't collect change. So impoverish them, increase what I told you, subsidy renewal program. That is what we do as election. Shege subscription renewal program, SSRP, every 4 years. It is like Hunger Games. You put the people in an open field, increase pressure of suffer on them. So if they reach this level, don't worry. Shebina here, Buhari Karuna reach next level. I'm coming with renewed hopelessness. You go see him.
Jesus Christ. I'm tired.
Nigeria is a simulation.
My final question.
Please.
Who are you? How did we get here? What prompted this? Who gave you mind? Where did this mind come from? What happened? Where did this awakening come from? What experience did you have? Did they almost spy you? Did you fall into the ditch during 2020?
Do you know that incidentally, I have never been a direct victim of that kind of maybe injustice in terms. I've never been arrested. I've never gone to I only go to police station because I start working with a human rights organization and we visit detention facilities and all. And those experiences have been engraved in my heart. Things I have seen. One of them would be a few years ago. A girl child of about 8 going to 9 years, was raped by a man of almost 50, about 52. brutally raped, and she was, taken to one of the tertiary health institutions. And we were called and we went there. They had no money. Of course, there is no plan between the Ministry of Health to give that kind of emergency service. You will still pay. So aside the fact that the mother was dealing with, she had to undergo a reconstruction surgery.
Oh my God.
So she was in the hospital, and then they did a GoFundMe. Somebody who was online did a GoFundMe, and I was asked to take the cash to the hospital. And I took that cash, to the hospital. I went to the ward, saw her. She had just come out of the theater and was there. So we needed to go and do the payment. So I went with the mother to the ATM. And while we were there, we kept talking that the man has been arrested, taken into custody, so that they can come and, witness, so that once the girl is well. So I saw that the woman was so uncomfortable and she was crying. So while we were going forward towards the cashier to go and pay, she held me to the corner and she said, please, say that she wants me to assure her of something. I said, what, ma? She said she doesn't want to pursue that case. I said, what happened? She said that man is a very wealthy man and that her family is already under threat. That all she wants to do is, I should assure her that they will be able to get a means that after the girl recovers, to leave that environment so that they can go, that she knows there will be no justice from the police.
Crazy.
That is the country we live, where victims of injustice are the ones afraid for their lives. Perpetrators and the criminals are in government houses. She said that, Peter, please, don't pursue this case. They are threatening me and my children. And I wish I had the abilities to help or step in. But the truth of the matter is that case will be compromised. Because from visiting the state CID, the disposition of the OC gender was not such that there was any push that this case will go far. So what she was saying was true. It was about her safety and the daughter, because there will be secondary attacks. There is no way that we can have a society like this. There is no way. A society that rewards criminality and injustice. May God forbid Nigeria.
Sorry about the situation, Akah.
So,
and I was just going to add that it's really, it's not easy, and it shows that you're a man of principles and convictions. And we believe that as Nigerians, we want the best for our country. And people like you should be given all the support to resolve problems that would create even more issues for the generality of Nigerians if we don't address them. So you can rest assured that on the Honest Bunch podcast, we are particular about issues that impact the lives of Nigerians. That is why we're using our platform also to address this matter. And we're glad that somebody like you who has a very powerful voice, who can articulate your thoughts and express yourself strongly, took that opportunity and you are speaking to Nigerians. I don't know if we can take it home.
All right, let's end with this. The Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, PFN, is currently pleading the case of the farmer who was sentenced to death for defending himself. I don't know if you're aware of the story.
Yes.
What is your take on that? And the uprising in recent times with regards to terrorism, especially the cattle herdsman and the Boko. What do you think the solution is? Do you think Nigeria has gotten to a point where a civilian needs to protect himself? Because in fairness to the pastor, we both agree that in Nigeria you need to protect yourself some way or the other. Maybe he didn't go about his own the right way. But don't you think right now that Nigeria has gotten to a critical point where citizens need to protect themselves? And this farmer who was protecting himself, why is he on death row?
The body of Christ in Nigeria will need to do a sober reflection and introspection of itself. The PFN, the Christian Association of Nigeria, the Supreme Council of Islamic Affairs, all of them together Is this the first case? I think in 2017, a redeemed deaconess, Eunice Olawale,
beheaded,
was killed, murdered in cold blood in Kubwa. The person who was vice president is Pastor Yemi Oshibajo. He was a former pastor. He's a pastor in Redeem. I think he was in Olive Tree branch of Banana Island before he became vice president. What justice was gotten for the family? Deborah, who was killed in Usman Shehu Shagari College of Education in Sokoto, what justice was gotten for her? The mob that were arrested, even some of the few have been acquitted. Where were the voices? This is one too many. If we can take out the hypocrisy from religious institutions and traditional institutions and become, if truly we want to be the moral compass and conscious, selective justice is no justice. It's even injustice. If we want to address the root cause of it all. And talking about the issue of people bearing arms, if we get to that, once we begin to say everybody protect yourself, it is a system of total chaos and anarchy. You will not be able to outweigh the bad guys in terms of arms. If people in government begin to do, we already have arms proliferation in the country. We are talking about Boko Haram allegedly using military drones that our own military do not have. The Borno state governor is raising the alarm. So if those persons who have access to international connections are equipping them, what kind of arms can the civilians even hold? And then they'll use the law enforcement against you to say that it is even illegal for you to do. You should not do it. Meanwhile, the bad guys have those access. We must just decide to muster that courage and fix the system. Giving everybody a gun is not the solution. You are just, so it will not be actually the survival of the fittest. So if I can kill you, fine. If I survive, they say, today you still there alive. Okay, meaning you never die. No, while they go. Wow. We must fix the system.
Thank you so much, Peter. You've been an amazing guest. I've not seen anyone as passionate for their cause as you have been. I also fought a cause against the manipulation and extortion by religion of the people. And I know what you went through. I've toned it down now because I'm more into let's teach the people. You understand? But I know when I was and forget. That's why I say there's no God in any church. My opinion, though, nobody pray anything for me. Forget prayer. They called agencies and told them to drop me. That's where their power is.
Yes.
So I know they will fight you. And the fact that you have stood steadfast in your quest, even if I don't agree with you on everything, I cannot disagree with your personality and your drive. And I pray that through you, Nigeria can attain electoral reforms.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Powerful.